Alrighty boys, welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be going over a couple of builds for the Kel-Tec RFB. This has recently been added in the 12.8 patch, and it's honestly one of the coolest guns that we've had in a while. Unfortunately, the stats don't live up to how cool this thing looks and how cool this thing sounds, but just listen to this for a second. So that just sounds amazing. The gun looks amazing. The modded versions of this make it look like some kind of space age weapon, which is really sick. I love this kind of style of rifle and having a bit of variation in Tarkov. And the other really cool thing about this is because it has such a short barrel, being a bullpup rifle, it's really easy to get in and maneuver around places. I found it super easy to use on staircases, on places like reserve or on customs, just because you can really easily swing your gun around and you're not worried about butting into the rails and getting your barrel knocked up. Right, so first we're going to go over the max recoil reduction build for this gun using a blast mitigation device and RK2, and then also the Cobra sight on top. And then we're going to go over my preferred build for this, which is using the hammer sight and a suppressor, but also the B-25U. So for our max recoil reduction build for the Kel-Tec, it's a fairly standard build. You guys will likely be familiar with a lot of the sub-components of this. So the RK2 for maximum recoil reduction, and then the blast mitigation device up the front, again being the best in slot for the 308s. So you attach first the RFB thread spacer. After that goes on the A3 adapter, and then onto that goes the blast mitigation device and the Kel-Tec Dragon. Now up the top here, obviously on both of these builds, we're going to be using the Magpul M-Bus front and rear sights just for those extra 2 ergonomics points, and on the maximum recoil one, we are using the Cobra EKP. Note, you can technically get this quite a bit lower by chucking in one of the massive Night Force scopes. This is actually going to get you down to 119, but obviously, that 2 recoil reduction is not worth it if you're going to be looking at every single individual hair on someone's face, and yeah, unable to sort of use it up close. But technically, you could do that, chuck a PK06 on the top, but again, bit ridiculous, bit expensive, not really that practical. Right, so now on to my favorite build for this gun. We're going to be using the hammer and then also the delta point for this. The delta point just lets you swap off to a red dot when you're up nice and close, so you don't need to be pushing corners with like a super zoomed in thing, or just plainly relying on hip fire. Then also up the front, we're using the Wave QD suppressor. So for this, you actually need to attach the RFB thread spacer, and then on top of that, you are going to add the Wave MB muzzle brake, and then onto that goes the sound suppressor itself. So it's a kind of like stack up like what we had with the blast mitigation device. Now, although the stats for this aren't terrible, you're not just going to be able to sling rounds down range. It is 130 vertical recoil, which means you do need to take your time between shots and actually line them up. And when you're up close though, that doesn't really particularly matter. Like with the Viper Hunter, get close, start pumping down rounds of M61, and you're all good to go. Now, the real power of this gun actually comes at medium to long range. It has surprisingly low drop-off for the style of rifle that it is, and I think that's just based on the muzzle velocity you get out of this. You can see here, even when I was 0 to 50 meters, I only needed to aim just above the scav's head to actually hit a headshot and take him down. Okay boys, we're going to be doing some pretty cool videos over the next little while, so if you want to catch more Tarkov content, make sure to sub down below, and obviously if you've liked this video and it's been helpful, drop it a like as well. Aside from that boys, I hope you guys have an awesome day. I'll see you around in the next one. Peace out.